Good evening, good evening, good evening. How you guys doing tonight? Hi Brenda, hi Debbie, hi Sabrina, hi Richard, hi Susie, hi Joe, hi Dave, hi Alice, hi Tia, hi Jackie. Is anybody else in here yet? Good evening if you're on here and you're just not saying hi. Hi Rodney, hi William. Make sure you guys hit that share button and the like button when you're in here. Definitely appreciate it. A lot to talk about tonight. First of all, this January 6th stuff is getting ridiculous at this point. Claiming violence when there wasn't, and claiming when there was when it's just ridiculous. Every time I look at it, it's just one thing after another. Trying to make it look like all Republicans, of course, should be hung. That's basically what they're trying to say now. And we're seeing it. But at the same time, today officially, now consumer settlements have plummeted to 40-year lows. Remember, of course, when just Wednesday, Jean-Pierre refused to admit about the economy and that the American economy is no longer growing. It is falling off. People aren't purchasing even what they can't afford to purchase at this point. They're saving for what they have to purchase in the future. And this is a sad point. Seeing American expected overinflation over the next 4 year to jump, if we jump another 5.4% this year alone, we're expecting, drastic measures to be taken. $5 a gallon for fuel? That's just a joke at this point. And get this, Iran, where we're supposed to be buying oil from, decided to seize a Greek oil tanker that was heading to the U.S. Of course, the prudent warrior was carrying oil worth about $100 million that was bound from Iraq to Texas. Iran has seized that oil. Seized it for no reason. But yet we're supposed to be buying oil from them too? That's, of course, the plan to keep us out of this oil debt or oil shortage problem. It is sad. It is a sad state of affairs right now. Of course, there's no comment on the destination of what's happening with that oil right now. And no diplomats are engaged, as we know. None. It is a sad shape. The State Department, of course, added that the Revolutionary Guard on May 27th seized 2 Greek flagships, and the U.S. will continue to stand with Greece, our key NATO ally and partner, in the face of this injustice and seizures. This is stuff that's not being talked about, and it needs to be. Of course, we want to get oil and we want to be able to survive. Our president is more worried about solar panels coming from China as we banned all other exports. Of course, Xi Jinping is not having that. Not having it. Watching what's happening is just a difficult time for this country. Most Americans are expected inflation to be worse next year and are adjusting their spending habits in response to rising prices, not just of oil, but all goods across the table. Inflation, which is nearly at a 40-year high, according to metrics we use today, but if you use the metrics from the past, you look at almost a 70-year high, which is ridiculous when you go back 70 years and look where we were, in the middle of fighting a world war. It's sad. Nearly 9 in 10 Americans are starting to limit and hunt for bargain cheaper products. That is a huge percentage of Americans. It's no longer the 2% or 3% of people that really have to struggle to make ends meet. You're talking 9 out of 10. 90% of Americans are facing these issues. And it is sad. It is sad to watch this. It is sad to be fighting through this. And Biden officially admitted it today. Biden actually admitted this today, that we are at this point now. I don't know whose mic's on, but please turn it off. I mean, we're not going to go backwards in inflation. Inflation's not going to disappear. It's going to get worse as we go forward. Oh, just had to mute this. Sorry, you guys. Inflation's not going anywhere. The Biden administration, of course, didn't want to do anything about it. The freaking Treasury Department doesn't know how to handle it. Biden's presidency, of course, took Iran off the watch list or off the terrorist list, so we can buy oil from them. Now they're seizing the oil that was already purchased by us. This is a game of atrocious factors adding up to each other. We have Russia easily taking Ukraine, as Ukraine's now facing bigger issues such as cholera and other problems due to being taken by force. I mean, Kiev is being hit hard by rockets now. There's no way for faster delivery of weapons to hold off the armed Russian forces. Russia has now committed their forces to taking all of Ukraine. And you are seeing it at a rapid advance. Like I was saying before, Russia was showing very little of their forces when they first did it. Now that this flashpoint has happened, and they know that the U.S. is willing to send longer range rockets, they want to take the country before we have a chance to get them there. And that's not where they're going to stop at this point. Putin today, of course, was talking about reuniting the Soviet Union. Not stopping at Ukraine, but taking back all of it. It is crazy watching what's happening over there, as many cities have been reduced to ruins by Russian siege because Russia is no longer playing games. They were once just trying to take out a resistance of people that was a neo-Nazi group, and now they've moved in to take over the country. Period. End of story. Of course, there's outbreaks of dysentery and chloria. I can't even say it right. Cholera. The war has taken over 20,000 residents, unfortunately, with these infectious outbreaks. Thousands more in metropolitan areas. United Nations, of course, and Intercommerce, Red Cross, work to establish I can't even say something. I am sorry, guys. Humanitarian corridors to allow residents to, of course, get out. I mean, it's under Russian control now, and Russia's trying to restrict and fix problems that are happening. And it is sad watching what's happening there. The EU, of course, asked to accept Ukraine as a membership candidacy. The European Union has taken a historical step that will prove that words about the people of Ukraine belonging to European family are just not words. We'll see what actually happens, whether they allow them in or not. Of course, if the U.S. does end up sending long-range missiles, Russia said they will directly retaliate against us. The missiles have not arrived there yet. We know that they're coming. We don't know where it's going to hit the biggest problems in the future. Of course, Russia and China boosting their friendliness ties as River Bridge opens for cargo traffic today. China and Russia both boosted their friendliness cooperations today after the cargo traffic on the first bridge on the Armor River, connecting Russia to China, has been officially opened, transporting goods, which under the sanctions from the West of the invasion of Ukraine, China's in direct conflict with those sanctions. They don't care anymore. Literally, they do not care. Since the invasion of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin has designated most of the Western alliance, including the US and EU members, and Australia and Japan, and Canada, and many others, as unfriendly countries. China is agreeing with them. Yeah, humanitarian. Thank you, Linda. This is sad. We look like the weakest country in the world right now. Our dollar value is slipping. We have Russia with the strongest dollar value in the world. China, of course, backing their dollar value by gold from Africa at an alarming rate. They are heavily invested in most of Africa and now have a military base there. Looking to, of course, place more military bases in the near future in the South Pacific. It's one thing after another. As we go forward, this could be a devastating problem. Logistics, of course, of China and Russia increasing trade and deepening ties shows that they're willing to cut off the rest of the world. It's literally to the point where we're the joke of the country, or joke of the world. Inflation stays red hot in May at an 8.6% hike, or spike. 8.6% last month. Of course, everybody's talking about inflation was going to go down. Well, it's not, and that's obviously happening. Forcing the Feds, of course, to have to increase rates coming up, which is not going to be pretty. We're already seeing the stock market took major hits. Some stocks are down more than 70% from the beginning of this, and expecting them to go further. American dollar falls off this cliff. It'll be the Venezuela all over again. I don't know if you guys looked and seen what happened there. And now a cheeseburger there is averaging $42,000 today. A cheeseburger. And yes, price comparisons were equal to us before this happened in Venezuela. So it is a very, very scary situation. Of course, the petrodollar is no longer the US dollar, so that just pushes more validity to the issue. We had the gold, or the scare, of course, when we came off of the gold-backed currency back in when we did, and of course we got lucky. Saudi Arabia decided that they would do a partnership with the U.S.-backed currency as their primary currency. That partnership is gone. Partnerships with most oil-bearing countries are depleted. Now, to the point where we're supplying oil and we don't have enough for our own. What's it come to? More problems. Joe Biden's actual approval rate today was 28%. I don't know where you got that 32. Well, a recession is the nice way of saying depression. First, we have to enter a recession before you can start saying depression, though. That's just the way it works. And I think it's going to be more of a stagflation more than an inflation issue coming forward. Because stagflation means there are no longer products being produced because people aren't buying them. The prices stay high, and they stay what they're at. And manufacturers have to reduce production of products, reduce employees, reduce staff, causing more people out of work in America. And as, of course, these go through and more companies have to lay off more people, close more factories, it's a tumble effect. Then you have people with no income that can't afford anything, and the prices are still high. And you just get more and more of that as it rolls downhill, till eventually you have no production left. That is an ultimate stagflation scenario. That would be worse than a depression. You guys that have lived through the depression or old enough to even understand what that meant, this would be a drastically worse situation. Drastically worse than even the oil crisis that we had in our past. Of course, the biggest egg producing facility in the U.S. having a fire at it did not help any of these things because cost of eggs is expected to go up $15 a dozen. I was saying that's ridiculous. Biden, of course, addressing the 40-year high of inflation rates, blames it on everything but his government. He does not have a dial that sets gas prices or inflation. He is just the president. It's not like he makes laws that directly reflect the prices of stuff going up. Restricting access to drilling, restricting access to actual production of stuff, favoring other programs, that leads directly to what the situation we're seeing here today is. And people wonder why he gets questioned. He is nothing more than a talking head right now, a puppet for a government that does not care about its people. Today I seen a video, I'm going to share it with you guys, of an officer testifying in court. I think this is very important. This video actually shows this happened here in Florida, right down the road from me. So I'm going to play it real quick. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. This is a ridiculous situation that even the police officers no longer care about the public. And it's a sad shaping of events.
And I'm just going to refer to that Z as Zulu. We'll try and get somebody else to verify that that's what that is later. But at that time, y'all had your firearms out and were ordering these people to do something.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that almost as soon as y'all started putting cuffs on, they started trying to tell y'all about 790.25 and the right to open carry while fishing?
Your head. Put it on your head.
Why, what's going on, man? What's going on, guys? I'm not resisting. Not resisting.
Your hands up.
Not resisting.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what's going on.
We'll explain to you now, man.
Hey, I'm letting you know within the Florida statute. Hey, please, it's locked and loaded, buddy. It's a server holstered, please.
Hey, go, brother.
We got two over here. We got four.
My sidearm's out as well.
Sit down.
Huh? My sidearm is
Sit down? Are you telling me to sit down?
Sit down.
I'm sitting down.
Sit down.
I'm trying.
We're gonna explain. We're gonna explain it to you, man.
Hey, if you can, excuse me, officer. I'm not trying to resist, but you see that little paper over there? You see that paper?
Relax.
Almost as soon as y'all started putting cuffs on, they started trying to tell y'all about 790.25 and the right to open carry while fishing.
Objection to form. A lot was being said that they were saying. I can't remember everything on the top of my head, sir.
Okay. It's a lot of confusion, like you said, right?
You know. Yes, sir.
In that initial instant.
You know, just referring, like at that time, we're regarding to our safety and the civilian safety and even their safety.
So, officer, you've referred several times to safety. I'm going to ask you a question that I'm sure Mr. Switkus will tell me it's argumentative, but I have to ask it. Do you consider your safety more important than the citizens you were approaching right then?
Objection to form and argumentative.
You may answer.
So not to disappoint counsel.
You may answer.
Okay. At the end of the day, our safety comes first.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you, I'm out.
And then I would say the citizens behind. But I would actually, in my opinion, citizen safety comes first.
That doesn't make no sense. My man.
Okay. Well, those people were citizens, right?
Yes.
So does their safety come first or does yours come first, or are they equal?
Well, in this situation, if you're talking about this situation, our safety comes first.
Your safety comes before the safety rights of Mr. Taylor and everybody else that was out there.
Objection to form.
Yes.
Okay. Does your safety come before their civil rights?
Yes.
Yes?
What the fuck did you just say, Sal?
I don't know. Does your safety come before?
This is just absolutely ridiculous, and I have to share this because this is what officers think now, because this is the brainwashing that is happening within our government. And I feel terrible that this officer had to be put on the spotlight today, but this is a situation that's well known here in Florida. You're allowed to carry while you're hunting, fishing, and camping. Open carry at that. This officer directly violates the law because somebody is following the law and then thinks they're in control. They should be the ones. Their safety is first, paramount over the citizens, even though they're the ones that caused the problem and escalation in the first place.
Their civil rights?
Yes.
Yes?
I would have to say yes, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier.
Sure, go ahead.
In the world we live in, just because they tell me they're good people, criminals lie to us every day.
The question here today is, can law enforcement lie to a suspect? And the short answer is yes, they can.
Criminals lie to us every day. That's why we do our records check and the guns check. If everything copes out, they're on their way.
Okay.
So your civil rights do not matter, according to him.
But you later determined that nobody out there had committed any criminal violation that day, didn't you?
At the end of pending an investigation, yes.
Once you had everybody disarmed and the people you felt needed to be handcuffed, did the citizens on the pier try to tell you about the right to open carry while fishing?
From my recollection, I don't believe anybody told us anything out of the citizens. You mean the citizens that were detained or the people that were on the pier?
The people you detained.
Oh, my mistake. I
That's
thought you
okay.
meant- my mistake.
A fair error.
And guys, you're both
Yep.
doing it. The court reporter
I'm
is
so
trying
sorry
to take
again,
you both
ma'am.
down
I
at the same
apologize.
time. I'm
I'm
going to
sorry.
play referee.
No, but that was my mistake, sir. I thought you meant the people on the pier, not the people that were detained.
Fair error.
I apologize on that. My mistake.
When you started detaining the people you were detaining, do you remember them almost immediately trying to tell you about the statute?
Like I told you, when we first detained them, there was a lot of verbal going on. And once we sat them down and detained them, to my recollection, I believe they started mentioning.
Now he remembers that they started to tell him about this. This is the problem. I mean, I support law enforcement 110%. But when we see this coming, we know this is coming for all of us. They're coming to try to take away our weapons any way they can. Officers are being told to do this any way they can, to seize weapons. And we're seeing it happen now, even here in my state. This is a sad, sad, sad event taking place. Officer directly sitting in court, acting like he has no knowledge of the law at all. Of course, that is a problem. Law enforcement thinking their safety and their rights go above your civil rights as a citizen. Your rights don't matter. Why should they? Pretty soon, we'll all be dependent on them in the first place. I mean, look at the cost of food. Pretty soon, you're going to be having the government. You're relying on the government in order to eat. And if you don't believe me, look at the prices outside. I would say go back a year ago when I started talking about this issue and how bad it was going to be. And people didn't want to listen then. It's only going to get worse as we go forward. Only going to get worse as we go forward. Tragedy. Tragedy watching cops and officers, of course, following their orders, just like Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany, they were just following orders. They didn't mean to do wrong. They didn't mean to do horrific acts upon citizens. We're seeing it all over here again in America, as officers are following orders from people that don't care about your rights. And I support officers, good officers, 110%. I'm going to say this again, because I am not anti-law enforcement. And people need to understand that. But this is the problem we're facing. They're going to use whatever they can to take away our weapons, our rights, our freedoms as citizens of the United States. Watching people being detained for not breaking any law. Watching people imprisoned for over a year without any charges. If they had charges, the charge would be simple trespassing or breaking and entering. Neither one with a sentence of a year. Watching the Capitol Police still have people entangled in the same system. It is sad. Knowing that the only way to control us is to get our guns away before we end up going broke. Americans, of course, are going to see grocery stores prices skyrocketing even higher. That's a report coming out. As food prices in the U.S. are going to get much worse in the coming months. Of course, the dismal wheat harvest, on top of the loss of Ukraine's wheat exports, reported on Thursday from the Wall Street Journal. The EU produced less than 5% of the wheat it produced because of dry weather. U.S., of course, had the same problem. This is a serious, serious issue coming forward. World wheat production, I guess, only went to 18%. We only produced 18% of the wheat that we needed. If people aren't waking up now, wake up. 16% is ridiculous. I mean, the exchange is now, wheat on the exchange now is $10.05 or 50 cents a bushel on Friday. Up from $6.21 just days earlier. It is a scary situation. The price of groceries in America increased over 11.9% on average over the last year. And we're expecting a landmark increase very short. Going to be a hard time. Yes, shortage of sugar will be another problem. If you guys do not know, I have been talking about this. India has no export of sugar until after the first of the year. And they're not sure if they're going to go back to exporting anyways at this point. We're seeing agriculturists all the way from France and all around the EU, of course, declining to export any of their goods because they don't have it. High prices, of course, hitting the markets everywhere there as members are trying to find anything they can get. France is the top exporter of wheat in the EU. And like I said, EU didn't produce enough wheat to even sustain itself. Neither did France. It's going to be an awful time coming forward. We already know that heat and rolling power outages are expected coming forward from the southwest. I mean, we get a major hurricane, we'll see fuel shortages throughout the entire country. All we need is one of those plants to go down for 3 days. And we're going to see a major hurricane we do every year. Maybe it knocks 5 plants off. Maybe it knocks the whole entire oil fields off for refineries. Depending on if one of those refineries never reopen, we're in a constant state of shortage of oil at that point. Of fuels. It's something we're going to have to face and be prepared for. I think it'll be getting scary here in the next month or so. I literally do. What I was saying before and talking to some people that I talk to every day in a group is that I think by the end of this month, we'll be seeing a very scary situation. Dark winter is going to be darker than we ever thought it could be. I want to thank you guys for being here with me. I will be live, of course, tomorrow night, giving you guys any updates, of course, what's happening. But be prepared. Americans will see grocery store prices skyrocketing even higher. God bless you all. Be safe. Be prepared. If you don't have supplies yet, please get supplied. If you have any Army buddies, of course, talk to them about getting some MREs. They always slip a couple cases off a base. I didn't say that, but you know what I mean. Stock up, be prepared, and just be ready. God bless you guys. God bless America. Good night.